Welcome. Happy Kwaai Day, the last Kwaai Day of 2023. 2023. I'm going to give you my retrospective now, and it's basically the the same thing that I think the New Yorker said. 2023, when we look back at it, would be the year that we realized that AI ate the internet. I think it's there's no going back on the transformation that happened when ChatGPT was released. Well, it was actually released late 2022, but it's really 2023 where it took off and captured the consciousness of all of us. And it's the very exponential growth of artificial intelligence and its potential to further accelerate the monopolization of this technology, of the way we do things online, that raises concerns. And unabated, AI will proceed down a dangerous path. And this is the reason we're all together. We've got this. It started off where I had this. Hold on, we're going to mute that. Okay, so it started off where I had this concern at the beginning of the year that AI was moving along a dangerous path. And it was reminiscent of concerns that we had perhaps 2 decades ago when the operating system industry was also subject to a concentration of control where only a few corporations controlled the technology. And what it required was an altruistic intervention. And this is what you're all doing. You're all part of an altruistic intervention. And that altruistic intervention 2 decades ago was called Linux. And Linux basically took on the dominant server operating system corporations. That was Windows NT, that was Sun Solaris, that was the various flavors of Unix that one had to license in order to do anything in the operating system space. Linux is now the dominant operating system, but built on open source. Not that it's a free-for-all. In fact, profitable companies are built on top of Linux. Red Hat being the first billion-dollar company built on top of open source. So we feel that a similar movement, we call it Kwaai, a similar movement to democratize AI would be built on open source, and it would allow us to make AI personal. It would, when we translate that notion of democratization of AI, which seems a bit theoretical and esoteric, when we translate it into what does it mean for the regular consumer, we have to talk about why it matters to a consumer. Why does it matter that it's not just your data, it's artificial intelligence that models you. It's your digital twin, it's your co-pilot, is not being controlled and created by you. It's being controlled and created by a few corporations. And your digital twin lives in silos of other third-party companies. It's that problem that we want to address in Kwaai. And we want to do that by turning the whole thing on its head. We want to build tools that allow regular users, regular consumers, to own and control their own AI. And we're starting that off with your communications. Your communications co-pilot will allow you to train and build your own AI assistant. We might grow that out to financial, to healthcare, and so on. So what it actually requires is for us to build an AI operating system that allows you to own and control your own artificial intelligence, and then create interfaces to allow third parties to build their own co-pilots, but co-pilots that allow consumers to control their own digital twin, rather than having third-party corporations try and sniff and glean and suck cookies and do all the sort of tracking that they do in order to figure out that digital twin. Wouldn't it be more efficient if I say, here are my entertainment likes and dislikes, here are my healthcare needs and so on, and control how much I want to share of it? So part of the discussion that we've had from July, when we started this idea of Kwaai, was translating a theoretical concept to a more practical, digestible message to consumers. We need to double down on that. In 2024, we're going to distill that message and start pushing it out to the consumers. Most of 2023 was about building the group that we have here on screen, and it amounts to about 150 volunteers. 2024 is going to be about messaging the consumer and also starting a funding round. And we'll talk more about that later on. So that was a lengthy introductory set of remarks, but I'm going to pass it back to you, Matt. Thanks.
Sure. Well, very, very important reminders, but you'll be cut off from member voices, Riza. No member voice for you later. Wonderful. Just a quick update here, operationally on the open source licensing poll. We'd love to get some more involvement in that. It's happening in the Kwaai Slack channel. Brittany DeVenter, one of the board members, who's been one of our earliest sort of hands-on engineering leaders, is putting that together, and we really do need some feedback. Currently, MIT is winning. There's some really interesting observations about copy left, and some good conversation that's starting to happen, but we really want a lot more of your opinions before any formal decision is made. Please jump into the Slack. Please add a comment in the thread. Please click a vote on the poll, or let us know if your choice isn't represented there. What Riza said about doing something differently, flipping things on its head, doesn't really just apply to tools. This also can apply to the way that we put this product out into the marketplace, our packaging, our licensing, our compensation structures. The way we do operations here at Kwaai is also rather unique. So let's think about a lot of things differently, with Kwaai in 2024. But one of the really key and crucial checkpoint decisions that we need to make, ideally, let's bring in the new year with this in mind, is our open source licensing decision. I'll do also just a quick announcement with regards to the funding advisory committee. Unfortunately, several of the key advisors that are to be shouted out here and are involved are not able to make today's call. But please also, there in Slack, there's a Kwaai funding channel. If this is an area that you want to get involved in, please jump in. Kwaai funding is also one of these let's turn it on its head type of areas. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. How are we going to build a large and consistent development organization using donations of engineers? Can we go out and can we get services organizations to donate engineers to our cause in order to build a functioning engineering and consistent engineering baseline organization that can augment our volunteer efforts? How do we go out and go to the VCs? What's our message that we're taking to venture capital firms? This isn't going to have the for-profit OpenAI bolted on, pseudo arm, whatever that is, that's off to the side there that everyone's really investing in. What we're doing is fundamentally different with that altruistic intent. So really crucial moment in early 2024 for us to go out with both our funding approach as well as ideas around our tools, product and packaging. Free to consumers, how do we make it free, who pays for what? Hosting is going to be an issue. Where does that get hosted? How does that fall to the consumer or not? Lots of big decisions need to shake out. Please get involved in conversations in the Slack channel. We will definitely pull together a group in early 2024 in January that's highly interested in helping steer these conversations. That will include folks like Michael Nathan. That will include folks like Dave Bickerton, who I actually just met for coffee this week. There's a lot of really interesting folks from very unique backgrounds in this industry that has some great ideas. This is the time to put those forward. So I'll pass it on from that. Passing it on to myself, I guess, once more. One more announcement I'd like to also make is that Lynn Hardy, Lynn's been involved in several of the engineering calls. Lynn is a leader at a Fortune 500 company, an engineering leader at a Fortune 500 company, and she's highly involved in operating OS and kind of UX design, UI, UX design. So she's going to take up a advisory leadership role for the Pi OS and apps components with the engineering team. We've kind of split our initiatives in two. There's the back end led by great leaders like Balaji. Hey, Balaji, looking forward to hearing your retrospective here after this, as well as Jim Baker and Ian McFarland and others have shown great leadership there. We have another Slack channel and kind of another work stream kicking off with a different Trello board for the front end experience, the conversational OS. This is also really where the user experience around the LinkedIn communicator application lives. And it extends then to, hey, what are our ecosystem decisions that we're going to make? We're creating an OS. Well, we're creating an app. Need to create some connective tissue between those. Are we creating a marketplace? A lot of some of those decisions are going to start to play out in early Q1. So join that if you're interested in that user experience. Get in that Slack channel, make yourself involved. We're also super happy to have Lynn's leadership there. She's going to be setting up some Figma boards to get us started. With that, I will hand it over to Cyan. Cyan has an update on the progress that's been made over the week. Thank you, Cyan. Appreciate that. Let me pop over to your slides here.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. So on the progress that we have been making this week, basically they are all aligned to the MVP POC. It has been shared in the architectural channel if you guys want to take a look at that. So we have some progress doing the main flow, which is creating draft responses every time a new email arrives to your inbox. So Anna is creating the draft responses. There's a POC on that in the architectural channel. If you want to take a look at that, it is there. I think she shared that last week. And we're going to be sharing another progress POC, which is detecting when a new email arrives. And that completes that small flow. From there, Jesus is working on the Llama 2 model refinement. We're going to be tackling next week how we're going to be asking to our email if this is an email that we need to create a draft for, or if it is a no reply email. So we're going to be detecting that next week. Lynn is working on the UI UX proposal. Roman is working on the actions diagram. He already shared the UML diagram in the architecture channel. If you want to take a look at that, make any comments, feel free. Also, we're starting to create the backlog per stream. We have a few meetings this week to check which epics we're going to be creating, and we're going to start to create all the user stories for these epics. And also, Balaji has a very interesting POC that he already shared in the architectural channel regarding the chat with your email. So next week, we'll try to start creating the roadmap per stream, front end, back end, kernel, etc., and have something to be aligned for March delivery. And that's pretty much it.
Fantastic update, Cyan, and huge shout out to Cyan and Jesus and Anna. and Eunice and the Arcus Nexus team. They are the shining example of what our model can be. We really appreciate the consistency of project management that Cyan has brought to this year. We really, really appreciate the work that Anna and Jesus have put into it, as well as just their presence on all the calls. You all are great folks to work with, and we're really blessed for that. So thank you for that. I wanted to not to put you on the spot, but I'm prone to do this. Roman, I see you on. Did you maybe want to say a few words about your UML diagram there?
Yes, I shared over the channel. Basically,
you want to share anything here on screen share or talk through it?
Sure, I can do that.
Let me.
If you allow me to share.
There you go.
Right. Basically, the starting point was a main UML diagram that Risa shared with me, and basically we explode two nodes: the training communication assistant, that is the node 1.0, and the handle incoming communication, which is the node 1.1. For handling the communication, this was also expanded on what Risa made. Here we have basically a flow that classify the incoming response until we made it to the draft response. This was also used as the main architecture for the building that Jesus and Anna are coding. Also, the training communication assistant, which takes the downloaded emails at some occurrence, and it get enriched by contacts, calendar, and making a small email pre-processing to make use of the LLM to the model training, with also the communication history to be stored on the pod. If you see, we respect the inputs and outputs of the nodes over the main diagram to make the use case with the user as an actor and the personal communication assistant as another actor, and each of his roles at his main use cases. Basically, that's a quick overview over the diagram.
That's fantastic. I'd not seen this progress. Thank you so much for translating what was like old style Jordan diagrams into modern UML diagrams. That's well done. Thank you. Oh gosh, lots of thank you.
That's well deserved. Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you, Roman. Really appreciate that. And yeah, get in there. The Lucid chart is posted. Comment access is open there. Please jump in, add comments. This is the time. These decisions are being made, and engineering work is happening. So please get involved. Let's see. Masu has a question about the architecture funding channels. They're public channels. I'll make sure to pull you in, Masu, but definitely look at the channel browser hamburger menu there, and you should find one's Kwaai funding, and then there are two that start with Pi, P-A-I, and the architecture one is the back end, and the OS apps one is kind of the front end.
Great. Okay.
Fantastic. So let's go over to member voices now. This is give us a bit of extra time today at the end of the year, and I preface this at the beginning here. Preface this at the beginning here, but today what we'd really like to hear from everyone is what's your kind of brief AI retrospective. 2023 has been a crazy year, so. Would certainly love to lead this off with some of the new folks here. We always love to start with the new voices, new faces. Please jump on video if you're able to. Introduce yourself, what you do, and what brought you to Kwaai. But we'd love to hear from everyone today, just on your year in retrospective. And As usual, if nobody puts the little hand icon up, I start calling on people. So somebody help me out with this. That'll be nice. Anybody new here that want to lead us off? I see a few new names.
Come on, Rahimi. I see you in the room, man.
Toby, I'd love to hear your retrospective. Why don't you lead us off and show us how it's done?
Yeah, Toby.
I'm sorry. I have a lawn guy here in the background. So unfortunately, I don't know if you guys hear it, but it's really loud.
No, we don't hear a thing, Toby. I think you're still on the hook.
All right, Toby's making excuses.
No, if you can't hear it, I'll go.
All right, go for it, Toby. We can't hear it. You're loud and clear.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I am so pumped to see the community side because I'm a community guy, and I really appreciate all my friends, my network that have come through. You guys don't know Reza, but Reza's like my big uncle, and so I really appreciate all you guys coming out and supporting. And I'm looking forward to getting into some coding next year. Like we've been chomping at the bits to start building, and I think we're finally there. So I have to say, and then also Karsten, my buddy, gave me a little perspective of like we're doing things very different from a lot of open source projects in a good way, and I think he can kind of toot about that a little bit more. But I'm really happy to be a part of this and just appreciate everybody's energy. We're making residents tear up here because we love you.
Awesome. Thank you, Toby. You've been a huge
Thanks,
part
Toby.
of it. We really appreciate you. Marcus, I don't know if I caught you before you ducked out, but if you're still here, I'd love for you to just say a few words. I'm slow on the attending that now. It looks like I missed him. Marcus sends his wishes. Come on, who's next? Somebody step up.
I can go next if you guys want me to.
Please, love it, Balaji.
Yeah, you're in a retrospect, right? I think when I started playing with AI, it was almost around GPT-2 to GPT-3, somewhere in between. I think the predominant sentiment at that time was fear, I would say. And I think a year later, if I were to see where it has come to, it has become curiosity. I think fear has transformed itself into curiosity. And maybe in a couple of years, we reach the productivity, right? We are in this unique phase where everybody's curious. I think when I started, there's a lot of noise, and it was difficult to get the signal out of the noise. But I think right now I have enough puzzle pieces, I believe, I've collected out of the whole 12 months. That's also a good thing. I think it's leading to getting productive. I ran one fun poll in the community saying, hey, ChatGPT, you augment me, complete me, or replace me. And 55% of the participants are now in the augment me. Earlier cycles where people are puzzled, they don't know what this is going to do to them. I think a lot of sentiment changes happen from replacing jobs to replacing tasks, right? I think individual components making you the superhuman. So these are all, I think, the good progress that I have seen in the whole space. I'm optimistic in general, and I love this Kwaai group, and I like the mission. So happy to be here.
Awesome, Balaji. Thank you for your leadership.
I could jump in next. It's people are shy.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, no. So yeah, my perspective on this is when Riza approached me in the summer, I was pretty excited about it. And AI I've always embraced and worked in the science world, but the science community I think is always open to things, but AI they're still trying to figure out how to tackle it. And I think now that more and more over the last year, people are realizing with, things that have developed in the science world, in the clinical world, especially with the past pandemic and things like that, where how AI can actually transform science to become more efficient, make us more efficient, as we proceed forward. And I think that's spilling over to other fields, like one of my colleagues, or friends, I should say, not colleagues, but friends, who's in the music industry. When I told him about Kwaai, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sign me up for test subject number 1," because he would love to have that used for him for his email and answering back to. He's a promoter, so, and an agent, so he's answering emails and making it more efficient to actually support his clients that are in the music and the movie industry in the LA area. But yeah, so I think overall, I think how. Me being the science background, obviously I looked at the healthcare and how that's going to be transformative once we launch it to the, eventually next year. But I think, the AI movement is even for the older generations, it's going to transform them more and more, because they might not understand it, but I think we're doing a good message here, especially with the making it accessible to everyone, and Riza's, leadership and the way he presents things makes it clear to everyone how things are. I think that's you have a good communicator, basically a good a good person in charge that basically knows how to excite people, and I think that's one of the main things that's going to set us apart in the future. So
awesome, Afshin. Well, thank you as well. What a year for you across a number of domains, and really appreciate your leadership here with Kwaai. All right, hand raised, Selena, showing us how it's done. Thank you, Selena.
Hey, yeah, so thanks so much. I wanted to kind of echo what Balaji said, and coming to terms with where people were at when AI first came out, very cautious in using it. And even in, financial industry, where some of my background is, being hesitant about it and kind of using it on the side of different things, but also in project management, seeing, all the possibilities that can come from it and how it can enhance some of our skills and framework. It's just definitely exciting to see. So I'm looking forward to all the growth and, what we can help achieve and protect, our data and information. So that's mine.
Awesome, Selena. Thank you. Randall.
Hi, I'm new here. My name is Randy Camp, and had the opportunity to meet Reza a few weeks ago at an event in San Diego. And my background's in software engineering. I've been curious about AI for a long time, but have never been directly involved. So wanted to learn more.
Welcome, Randall. Randy, we have a friend in common, Cyrus Christensen, who was the he was the general counsel at Real Networks. So
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm getting a.
Yeah, boy, that brings back memories. That was a long time ago. Wow.
And so it was great meeting you in San Diego. Thanks for joining.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome, Randy. Thank you. Alonso, Roy, Josh, Gus, Karsten, Masu, would love to hear from you. I don't want to call you out, but that might start happening. Josh.
Sure, I'll go. Yeah, I think 2023 has been a big year for AI. I think that there was a lot of publicity over the OpenAI shakeup. And that's how a lot of people are hearing and using AI, is their chat when they launched it like a year ago, got like millions of people signing up, which they weren't expecting. I've actually used AI before that. Like they had a chat GPT 2. So I used that, and it downloaded and ran it, and it was kind of slow and had some kind of random results, but 3.5 was a lot better, and 4 is kind of a game changer, and all of the other big companies are trying to catch up. I think that what the idea of a personal AI idea that you can run on your device. I mean, we're starting to get there, and I think that that's really important because, you know, like especially things like emails and other things where you want those private. You don't want those going off to some other outside company. Also, I think that a lot's changed. Like I was doing data engineering 3 years ago. I was a architect for data engineering at a company, and you know, you had to hire a data science and scientists and like ship them all the data, and you'd have to create a complex model. And now, for a lot of things, you can just ask that one AI that you have those same questions, like getting all the emotions in tweets. That's hard, and like getting or that was hard, and getting like sentiment. Is this a positive tweet or a negative tweet? That was hard, like, you know, 4 years ago. But like you can do that in a couple lines of code now, and things with AWS is coming out, things where you can actually have it program the AI, like set up the AI, set up several AIs to do various things. So that email one, it took like, you know, less than an hour probably to set that up, and maybe another hour to kind of to optimize it. And it used 3 credits out of 400. This is using, I think it's Party Rocks AWS. So that's probably like $3, I'm just guessing, to set up and get it running. Then if you wanted to use it at scale, though, it'd probably be pretty expensive. That's how things tend to end up with AWS. But I think if we have a personal AI and it's running on your phone or running on a computer and it can talk to your phone, then things will be a lot easier. And some of those software requirements are coming down and computers are getting faster. So that's my comments for 2023 is like kind of a bellwether year for more widespread adoption of AI. I would say end of last year is when people started hearing about AI, although it's been around for decades, but this year's really where companies started seeing it as necessary for the future.
Awesome. Great thoughts, Josh. Thank you. Carson, you've got it. You've got your hand up. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, you bet. Thanks. I couldn't not respond after Toby's reference before, because it was just on the line of what I was thinking. It was, well, when Riza said earlier about how we're talking about Linux and the dynamic of you know, that curve, I didn't start. I joined in basically in 2001 is when I started using Linux more primarily, working at VIA Linux, and I mean, the time between then and when the curve of how long it took for people to really get that open source was a way of developing, and to think about the operating system of something else, to think about how important it was to open up a platform like that was at least 10 or 12 years, right? And what I was, and so one, like, but for like one of the examples of the things I said to Toby that I was seeing rapidly coming in this community was like the foundation model. You know, obviously there was a few years ago, everybody started making foundations, but they were making foundations in reaction to existing things they were doing as a way to kind of try to form something around it. And I don't know if this group invented the idea of forming the foundation up and getting it all ready before starting the coding, but I think it's brilliant, and I'm really, you know, I'm curious about, I want to capture it and maybe write it down and, you know, for other people to get, because there's a lot of, particularly the way that open source is, you know, we think maybe it's a sandbox, but it's a real world sandbox, and it's a place that organizations, once they understand how to work in an open source space, now their people are free to just go do things and don't have to keep checking back with leadership and legal about that. So what I'm finding is it feels like we're accelerating in how we do technology in communities because we're learning how to let computers do what they do, right? As opposed to 15 years ago, I mean, you know, just the manual efforts that it took to organize and run a community, you know, and then to watch how it is now and all the things, you know, everybody's otter bots on the channel tracking things, like so much smart stuff going on. It just feels really great. And so I think for me, you know, particularly around this year, what I was thinking on the adoption curve, I tend to live as both an enthusiast and a pragmatist, right? I get enthusiastic about a new thing, but I don't necessarily adopt it into my regular workflow. I'm more like a pragmatist on that side, because I don't want to, because I'm trying to get, I mean, you know, I want to be able to write about this cool new thing, but I can't blow up my laptop because then I won't be able to write about it. You know, there's that little cycle. So I find that I tend to just wait a little while, and I was definitely waiting intentionally this year to see if this early excitement around AI was a real thing. or whether it was just another kind of hype bubble. And it was, you know, because like many of us, I could see this coming. You could see where the machine learning was going, and that we were going to be starting to do amazing things pretty quickly to make all of our lives easier. And so just as I got convinced that this absolutely was the real moment and this was happening, you know, that was right around the time that Toby invited me to come over here, and then, you know, just to come and have my head blown away, like, oh, this is like, I just keep seeing doing the open thing correctly over and over again in this community, and just really makes my heart sing, because it means that it's really all the work that we all did in the early years has really permeated to the point where now in like a 1-year time frame, we can go from such a rapid acceleration for something that used to take us 12 or 13 years. So yeah, I'm super stoked to be here.
Awesome thoughts, Karsten. Love how you're seeing things differently like that. Fantastic. Any other hand raises that want to pop in? I'd love to hear from some other folks, and I will start calling your names.
And Toby's already called your name already, so you should be ready to talk.
That's right. I'm calling you out in Slack or in the chat already, so you know you should be forewarned. I'd love to hear from you, Masu. Or perhaps maybe Masu had to drop. Let's see. Oh, Anna. Let's love it. Anna, hello, please.
Hi, everybody. Well, I just wanted to say that I'm glad to be part of this team, an active part of this team. And for me, I'm very happy with the progress we have been doing so far. And well, eager to continue contributing to this project.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you. Love it, Annie. Awesome. Jesus, yeah, please.
Hi, I would like to say to everyone that I am also glad to be working here with you. When I start using AI, something that I was worried about is the way that my data is used to train this technology. So I'm happy to participate in a project where I can help to fix this problem, to help to democratize the way that the data used to train this technology. So I'm happy to be working with all of you, and that's all.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus. Ian, I see you volunteer in the chat. Go for it.
Yeah, and so in terms of retrospective, so I'm super happy to be working with all of you too. I mean, I think that it's so important that we're trying to work to keep it safe, free, and open, and now is the time to do it, because the cow is still in the barn at this point. I mean, not really, but like there's at least on the just outside the gate. We can maybe get the cow back into the barn, and I think it's a really important mission to do that. In terms of a retrospective on AI, I mean, this has been such the year of it, right? I mean, I think it sort of first broke on, we've been talking, I remember with mobile and location-based stuff that everything was the year of location-based until the iPhone happened, right? Like 10 years in a row, it was like, this is the year when location-based services become a thing. And then suddenly the iPhone happened, and then everybody had a thing that did location-based services in a meaningful way. I feel like we are at the same watershed event with AI, right? I think in like September, October of last year, ChatGPT and Copilot both kind of hit, and everyone's like, oh, this thing that we've talked about for decades, you know, machine learning or artificial intelligence, was suddenly at a transitional point where it became real and meaningful and applicable to real problems. And, you know, and a funny thing and there was a giant hype bubble to Carson's point, there is a giant hype bubble, but it's based on something. And I think those two things can coexist. And it's actually useful that there's a hype bubble, because it creates, you know, interest in the venture community that drives innovation, and the things that's pursuing are meaningful, because I think the impact that AI can have can be very, very positive. I mean, it's a huge amplifier for stuff. And as we know with technology, huge amplifiers don't have any ethics to them. So we need to come in and help them with ethics. We need to take this thing that's extremely powerful and use it as a power for good, as opposed to as a power for commerce. right? And I think commerce is good when shaped properly. But there's also this funny bias that happens where it's like, okay, now we know what AI is, and everybody sort of fixes on the current state of AI. Like we have it also with self-driving cars, and it's like everybody's like, oh, look how they suck at this, or they keep driving into emergency vehicles. Like, okay, yeah, they weren't trained on emergency vehicles. That is bad, but they weren't trained on emergency vehicles. Now we know that we need to train them on emergency vehicles in addition to normal driving conditions. And so we learn and then we adapt. And I think we get so fixated on how the current state of things is that we can't see past the current state of things. It's hard to imagine past the current state of things. And we think that this is the end state and that AIs will, like LLMs, will always hallucinate, which they will, but in certain, but that's a thing that we can manage against, that they can do certain kinds of things, but not certain other kinds of things. And I think the range of things that they can do is going to only increase. But we also are kind of used to just, like everybody's been talking about large language models and only large language models for the last year. And I think there's so much more happening in the space. So, I mean, I think it's been a year of transition from my perspective, it's been a big year of transition to where this has gotten very mainstream. And, just in co-pilots, like at the beginning of the year, even into the middle of the year, a lot of engineers were saying, we don't really want that. We don't really trust it. And like now you're hard pressed to find somebody who isn't using it or doesn't understand how much amplification it gives to their personal creativity and how much grunt work it eliminates.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real risk that it's going to disrupt a class of jobs that it hasn't disrupted before, right? And I think that's where I think a lot of this anxiety around it is coming from. We're used to technology disrupting blue-collar jobs, but we're not used to technology disrupting white-collar jobs. And we have this weird bias around that as the intelligentsia is the white-collar class. And so a lot of this stuff gets looked at through that
lens. There's just a lot to think about, the intelligence being the intelligentsia and all.
That's right. But don't worry, Matt, you don't have to think about it. You can have an AI do it.
That's another risk in the retrospective. Good one. Let's hear from some other folks, please. There's some new names on the list. I would love to. Oh, great, Rahimullah getting his hand up. Let's hear from you. Thank you.
And since Toby called me out earlier.
Yeah, that was coming. You knew it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to really put much into the work that everybody else has been doing. Really just kind of researching and reviewing and kind of figuring out what's going on. Like everybody said, there's a lot of movement going on. I would like to state, though, that the approach that is being taken here it's probably a lot better than what a lot of folks do, which is, hey, there's AI, there's a space, let's just go into the space and apply AI to it. What I'm seeing here is a more of a what I consider a more innovative approach, which is kind of a broad sense of where to go, and then let the technology build out, and as you're building out, kind of break test kind of approach to it. And so I'm really liking that, and I think that's definitely a great path. And so I think there's so many options and ways to approach it, but yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing that stuck out to me as things have been being hashed out and figured out. I will say that I'm still very much interested in figuring out how I can better apply my skill set. Again, most of the stuff for me is really like, business outcomes, structures to attack certain sectors. So an example is that I'm having a call with somebody next week, and we're talking about like threat intelligence, data feeds, right? And how they're currently built. But, there is some room for AI based on like existing, having access to existing network traffic, right? So if, there's been a lot of like behavioral security stuff that's been out for a while, but with AI, you do have some of this, you have one of the core things, which is extensive amounts of data and an extensive amount of existing patterns and recognitions. And then you have some set of uniformity. So there's, Pareto's law, right? Where like 20% gives you 80% of the results. And if you think about that, majority of work, people that are communicating, there's a certain set of folks that you work with, there's a certain set of sites you use, there's a certain set of tools that you leverage. And in security, it's very helpful when you start figuring out, okay, well, if stuff starts going outside of this, then it should trigger something. And so yeah, it's again, it's an exciting time. And I'm looking forward to seeing how things move along. So, and I'm always happy to chat with other folks that are in this forum or working through some stuff. So yeah.
Welcome, Rahim.
Yeah, welcome, and yeah, please get involved in the Kwaai funding Slack channel. Would love to see you in there. The time is now for that skill set. Abdul Rahman, let's hear from you. Thank you. Abdul Rahman, and then Ryan.
Oh, sorry. Hi everyone. Happy to be here. And AI has been a kind of transformation in the digital space of a thing. Although I've started the journey to AI since 2020, I was highly motivated in 2023 when ChatGPT, OpenAI launched the GPT-3, 4, and the likes like that. So I'm highly excited to be part of this community because I've learned a lot of things in terms of project management, also in terms of how AI could be democratized. As a digital rights advocate, this point of this democratizing AI has been a kinds of things I do look forward to, because when ChatGPT was launched, it was born of different talks in the town that AI will overthrow everything, AI will do this and the likes like that. So the point of democratizing this AI of a thing with Kwaai is something I am highly motivated to. And although it has been a kind of discussion on the X Twitter per se, where some Nigerians or African will be like, oh, how can I build AI that will fit the community? But yeah, the answers might not be from in 2023, but by 2024, everything will become norm because everyone will be in this space of developing AI and other stuff like that. So, thank you. I'm happy to be here, and thanks everyone.
Really well said, Abdul Rahman, and just want to thank you for your early and continued involvement and perspective here. I'll just also quickly share that I had an opportunity to connect with Abdul Rahman just recently, and it's those connections that are the most valuable part of Kwaai to me. Abdul Rahman is involved in some incredible things out in West Africa and globally, and just has one of the biggest hearts I think I've ever met, from somebody in the industry. So it really just shows me the type of people that we're drawing here to this mission, and just really thank you for your involvement here, Abdul Rahman. I saw Ryan's hand pop up. Ryan, please jump in.
Yes, sir. Good morning. So to start off, it's an honor to be involved with this community and seeing all the experts on this panel, their experience with AI. It's very inspirational, especially to me because I'm just 20 years old. I'm a third year in college. And, seeing things from my perspective, let's zoom back to 10 years ago. I was a kid and my dad got me an iPad for Christmas. And that was like my first exposure to Apple products. Ever since then, things have been just going fast. And then they seem to slow down until COVID. And then COVID happened, and all of a sudden, within a span of 4 years, we have gone from like conventional technologies and like sort of high tech stuff to having full blown co-pilots. And we're talking about holograms replacing humans like in the XR space. Like, how crazy is that? Like, it's just crazy how quick things move when one thing catapults, like transformation. And that fascinates me. But also, apart from the fast transformation, when you're going too fast, you tend to make a lot of mistakes, and especially human beings, knowing how we are, that kind of scares me, because AI it can be the best thing ever. It can optimize workflows, make billions of dollars, solve billions of problems. But then again, if you have problems driving behind the wheel, let's say, for example, Sam Altman's dismissal, things like that worry me, because we don't know who's in power, and we don't know how AI can be used sometimes, especially in this day where you can't really trust the bigger companies and individuals, and you need accountability over something so that's like so new, and there's laws still being made, which is good, but I feel like it has to be everyone's thing, and everyone has to be accountable and play a fair share. Super excited to interact with all of you guys throughout the session, of course, and learn more. But yeah, those were my thoughts.
Awesome, Ryan. Well, welcome, and love your perspective on just that centralization of power and how we can do this differently. Eunice, I'd love to hear from you, and then Masu.
Hey, good morning, good evening, everyone. My camera is off, and there are layers of blankets, so nothing to see there, but a bit ill. My perspective and hope for 2024, and this takes me back to 25 years ago, and when AI started becoming a daily news item, between the doomsday's prophets predicting the end of civilization as we know it, and the corporate schemes taking over our data and dictating new ways of consumerism habits, Kwaai to me stood to plant some hope and lead the way in adopting an active perspective to shape our own destiny. Something definitely we lacked when the internet and later when the mobile revolution started. This meeting to me is a great way to finish the year and to start a new one. And my hope for 2024 is we're going to turn every day into a Kwaai day. And very honored and happy to be part of the journey.
Oh, that's the best goal I've heard all year, just in time. Fantastic, thank you, Eunice. Masu, why don't you give us one more, and then Riza, you'll get about 20 seconds to wrap us up.
I'm gonna keep it quick. Hi, everyone. I feel like 2023 was a crazy year. A lot of hype, chaos of OpenAI, seeing AI at the surface, people using it at a scale. So it's exciting, but also quite scary, to be honest. I tend to be positive and stay on the positive side of AI, but I feel like at the same time, we need to be very responsible and be careful about how to use it. So I'm very excited to have folks like Riza to take the initiative and leadership of thinking about that part of the problem and bring it to the surface. Hopefully we would be able to take the leadership of bringing in awareness of how people need to use it, ethic AI, but at the same time, making it open source for everybody. So you could take care of your own rights, your own data, but also privacy, how to use it, instead of a few folks, deep-pocketed corporations ruling us. So awesome point from Eunice. Let's make every day a Kwaai day, and wishing you a wonderful, happy new year in advance. And I'm humbled, excited to be part of Kwaai.
Awesome, Missy. Thank you. Riza, take us out.
Well, thanks so much, Matt, and thanks everybody. First of all, I can't end the year without saying thank you to everybody in the community. It's tough to just have an idea and put out a call to action. It's like throwing a party and no one comes, and that's that angst you feel. So July 14, when I put out that video, you're the ones that responded. We've got a bunch of others, but you're the ones that consistently come onto the call and help us make what was a fuzzy idea a reality. If the call to action was about some other topic, let's say quantum computing, or I don't know, a new idea for nuclear fusion, no matter what a technology community I would have formed, what I wanted to do is make sure that the culture of the community is something that sits well with me, but it reflects the sort of ethos of the way I want to work with people. And I envisaged, after many years of working in for-profit corporations, a different way of running a corporation. This is a corporation, it's a non-profit corporation. However, it's staffed by volunteers, and volunteers that are motivated by a common cause. You're giving up your spare time, your hours. Look, it's the sunset here in Cape Town, and we're on the call, and I'm so grateful that you guys are on the call as well. So it's not a top-down. It's not a top-down structure, and it's definitely not a cult with a leader. I admire, and I'm so encouraged by the grassroots activism and the sort of organic creation of work groups and developments, stuff that I've not initiated. I don't want to be the micromanager. That just doesn't scale. So if we're to build a scalable organization, we need to encourage and empower grassroots volunteers to be productive and form work groups and start meetings and generate code. And yes, we might have to set example of how do you structure that? How do you create a high-level architectural diagram, discuss that, and then when you go forward, you create a backlog of tasks, and then third parties can come in, volunteers can come in and pick off from the backlog and contribute to the code. So the way we do open source development is important, because we're going to staff this organization with volunteers. We also, and these are not necessarily single contributor volunteers. These could be partner corporations, software corporations. In fact, Arcus Nexus is the first of such sort of a type of volunteer, of partner that actually contributes software talent to us, and we want to replicate that model. So the culture is important. As I said on the last call, I regard you as my extended family. I'm actually here in Cape Town, the mother city. This is where I was born, and I'm basking in the warm embrace of an extended family here in Cape Town. Just fantastic, and I'll share with you pictures. The term Kwaai comes from the street parlance of Cape Town. It means angry, it means wild, it's a nuanced meaning. I've spoken about this before. It's like the word wicked has sort of a slang meaning, and it's nuanced. In 2024, we want to set up an EMEA chapter so that we can expand that sort of organic development and have that not only going on in the West Coast time zone, but also in other time zones, because we want to scale geographically, and we want to grow our participation. AI. So the other point I want to make is the big transformation that we undertook was I approached this in a very sort of intellectual way, talking about democratizing AI. And it was only through discussion that we actually translated that esoteric concept into AI. Now it's personal. Now it's personal is the message that we should be communicating to consumers. It's personal. It matters to you. You should own your own co-pilot. If your employer owns your own co-pilot, you're in effect giving up the pilot seat. You're diminishing your employability. And we should message that out. Now it's personal. It matters to you. And this is why you should either contribute, or just participate. Okay, so now we need to think about how do we communicate that message to investors? We have to really ponder about that. You're now focusing a message to multiple audiences, but 2024 we're going to change, or we're going to message to a different audience. We were messaging to a volunteer group of intellectuals, as Ian called it, a group of people that could think and craft and fill in the details of a broad brush sort of vision. You've done that. I think we're on the road to an organization that where the detail is filled in. Now we need to figure out how do we communicate to the other audiences in our ecosystem? How do we communicate to the end user? How do we communicate to funders? And it's not going to come from me. I want you to start thinking about those things and start crafting those messages, and think about it audience at a time, and how you would do that. While I was here in Cape Town, I got to speak to a number of friends and colleagues and family members and say, hey, this is eminently fundable, and hey, you should be talking to this person, and so on. Can you send us a funding deck? Gosh, okay, so we need to get cracking on that. We need to get cracking on making this sort of no more than a dozen slide funding deck that really articulates our purpose and what we're about and why it matters. And we should get cracking on that really quickly. I've promised so many people. I said, hey, a deck's coming. I'll send it to you when it's done. I don't want to go off half-cock. I mean, I've gone and pitched and crashed and burned before. When you go unprepared, and then you get the sort of Rolodex fatigue where you ask for a second meeting and no, it's gone. So let's look forward to 2024. I'm going to be back in the new year, and we're going to be focusing on funding. Thank you so much. Look, I'm not going to be able to make the next call, the hackathon call, but have a happy Kwaai Day and have a happy hackathon meeting without me, and I'll see you all. Happy New Year. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes. And goeie nieuwjaarsdag, as they'd say in Afrikaans, and keep well. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.